Hello everybody and welcome to today's Frontify for Designers webinar. You don't need to write down something. I'll record this session so you can sit back and listen to it. My name is Josip. I'm responsible for client happiness and product awesomeness at Frontify. And if you have some questions, please write them into the chat. And then I'll answer them on the fly or at latest at the end of today's session. So before we jump into the application itself, I want to give you a short overview. Today I'll answer the questions regarding the use cases, how a designer can use Frontify. I give you a short overview of how others in your team can use it as well, and what the designer in this case would do. So the whole presentation is depending on a real case we developed earlier this year. And I'll show you just in a minute how this looks like. First, some information about Frontify itself. Frontify was built 2 years ago. And we started Frontify because we had this gap between designers, developers, and clients in the project management of the web development. And we wanted to improve this whole process. So the issues we mostly had is regarding the misunderstandings when you write emails back and forth, or the design handover when you don't know what exactly would you hand over to the developer. And that's why Frontify was built. And I think we have solved this problem pretty well. Let's see how this will work out. So the project is a tipster game around football. Roger, our founder, he's very passionate about football, and he always develops a tipster game for every World Cup or European Cup. And this time they used Frontify to collaborate. So let's see how this actually worked out. This is actually the page. And this is how it looks like. It's obviously in German, but doesn't matter. And yeah, you see my team didn't win the World Cup. Okay. So the first use case is about design discussion and design iteration. For that, I'll open my Frontify account. When I log in, I see the project dashboard with all the projects I've created in Frontify. And here I can create a new one. So basically I can say this is the Frontify for developers webinar, for designers, sorry. And here I can add some description, and this helps if you have many projects to distinguish them in a better way. Also, you can choose a role. This has currently no effect, but we plan to align the view of Frontify according to your role. So it makes sense to choose the correct role. Okay, here we have the empty screen or the empty project overview. And you can simply add files into Frontify by opening your screen or your Finder and just dragging and dropping it into Frontify. And you see after a few seconds it has all uploaded into this. And we see here is our design. These files are currently PNG files, but we support the most common file types in the web. Also, we support Photoshop and Illustrator files. So let's say you have uploaded your designs and you want to discuss it with the client, with the project manager, or the developer itself. For that, you go and open the screen by hovering it and clicking on Open. And then you have here the screen in the full resolution. So for instance, you would go and mark an area and you would say, can you make this rounder, please? Then this comment is added on the sidebar on the right side. And someone else from your team or the client itself can go open it and add some comments here. So you, for instance, can get some feedback from your clients, and when you have changed this, you can upload a new version by clicking here on the Upload button or Replace button, and I'll take the latest revision. And you see when you refresh the site that the profile has changed. You can also move and reorder your files how you prefer it. Then you can open it again and see, okay, this was done, and click on Resolve. Then this annotation disappears from the open list and appears on the resolved list with a little green check mark. So you can go clicking on it, you can comment it. I've done this now. And yeah, this is how you could manage tasks out of it. You can also reopen, then it appears again on the open list, and of course you can close it. This is very helpful because when you have many annotations on one screen, it kind of looks messy. So you can close the ones you've finished and get some order back into your screen. Okay, now when the whole screen is finished, you can open it also in the annotations layer and click here on Approve. Then the whole screen is approved. When you go back, then you see here a little green check mark. Okay, this was the first use case. And the second one is about prototyping. So for instance, you open your project and you want to present it to your clients or to your project members. When you have a web project or an application, you can add some basic interactions into it and make an interactive prototype, which can be used by the client as well. So let's say we open this screen now. Then we have here the interactions layer. And when you click on an area, you can say, okay, on the click trigger, I can open, let's say, this screen. And also I can write description here. I can also choose another trigger like swipe or pinch, which is used by touch devices like iPads or other tablets or even mobile phones. And then when you actually start this prototype on the iPad, then you can, of course, use these touch events. So I have here the profile and make another interaction and say he should okay. Then I go, choose a screen, click once on it to activate it, and then I click on prototype. And this is to choose the first screen which is being used on the prototype. So I have a clickable interactive prototype, and when I click somewhere beside this area I defined, it shows me where I actually have to click. When I click on it, I get this screen then. Okay, let's see. I click on this one, prototype. Yeah, okay. I see. I didn't. This didn't work because I didn't choose a click event. I choose a swipe. That's why it didn't work. I have to choose a click event. So now this time it should work. And when I click here, okay, and you see it changed the screen then. You can also change the settings, like if you want the light transparent background, or you want the image to repeat, then it would look like this. Okay, this was the prototyping use case. This is mostly used in client presentations. So the client can go and add some feedback on it. Then the next use case is the design specifications. You as designer would probably do that for the developers, that they know what exactly they have to develop. So I'll take this screen, open it, and then I have here the other specification layers. Starting with the measures, I have a little magnifier which makes it easier to choose the correct measures. Also, I can do it here. And Frontify automatically detects if it's a height or a width, or if it's a box. And by double clicking on it, I can change this. And also do some fine tuning, like if I forgot some pixels, this will be done automatically. I can take these measures and drag them around. If I think they need to be more readable here, I can just move them around. Okay, I can also create a grid for a website, but because this is obviously a web application or mobile application, this makes no sense here, but I could go and define a grid here, which can be downloaded as well if the website has a grid. Okay, then the next layer is the color layer, which I can simply click. I have also a magnifier which makes it easier to choose the colors. And if I have defined already colors, I can just take it from the side, drag it into the image, and tell Frontify to take this blue here. You don't have to pick colors for the typography. This is automatically done when you have marked an area where the typography is. You see here we have automatically detected the color. So I can just go and put in a name for it. Let's say this is navigation, and the CSS class is also navigation. This one is country, and you see also the color was automatically detected. I can go and change the size so that I have it correctly. What I can also do is define some patterns which will be then reused by the developers. So this one would be the navigation pattern, or here we have the result pattern. Okay, and what we already saw is the interaction. Now this is the specification use case. The next one is the guidelines, like style guide or typography guidelines. I can choose this by going on the top, clicking on style guide, and now Frontify creates from these specifications we made before all these guidelines. Like we have here the colors. You see you can also download it as a Photoshop palette, or you can also download the CSS files. Here we have the grid we created. You can export the typography directly in CSS. And here we have the patterns. You could also download this style guide in a PDF file to share it with your customers if they don't prefer to have it digital. And this is how it would actually look like. So you have the description here, the title, the used colors, the grid, actually the files you've uploaded, and the patterns or components you've put in here. Also, you have the measures you defined. Okay. Let's see. The next one is the design handover. We have already taken a look on that one. You can hand over the design via PDF, or you could go and invite others into your project by clicking directly on share. And here you can enter an email address. You can also define if this person is a client or another project member and you want them to be only a viewer, then you click on view only. Then commenters can comment on the annotations but make no modifications on the specifications itself. The user with the edit permission can actually change and edit all the specifications, and everything is used for the project managers who can actually delete projects and invite others. So I send the invitation, and here on top I see all the project members which are on this project. Okay. Basically, you can also show the activity screen if you want to see what others have been doing on this project. Like if anyone has annotated something, you will have it here. And you can also put it in your settings that you will be notified. For instance, when somebody writes an annotation, or you can get a daily digest which looks similar like this activity stream. You can also share specific screens. If you don't want to share the whole project with your clients, you can go and share the screen. Then you can activate the public link which you can copy and send via email or messenger to your clients. And you can deactivate it again if you don't want the other persons to see the screen any longer. You can, of course, also embed your screens into a wiki like Confluence or your project management tool by just copying and pasting this snippet here into it. Then you'll have the whole screen with the specifications on it defined in your other tool. Okay, this was the design handover. Now I show you a quick overview of the patterns, which is mostly used by the developers then. So we have defined the patterns, and the developers could go and they then start to developing these patterns. They click on the pattern itself to see where this pattern is located on the whole screen, so they have the context out of it. And then when they click on it in Builder, they can start coding here. And also we have extracted the colors we have defined here directly and the measures. So people don't need to jump back and forth and see all the relevant data they need. So I can show you just a little example how this would look like. And this is mostly used by the developers to code it, and the designers itself use it to compare if the code was designed correctly or developed correctly like designed. So we saw now that this whole screen is not correct in the size, it's double the size. So we can go and say, okay, this one is a retina display and has another resolution. And when I open it again, I see that this is correctly now. Also, developers can use it to make responsive versions of it. If I have here a desktop version, I could go and drag and drop the pattern from the sidebar, rearrange it, resize it, and now when I open the patterns again, I see I have two versions here. One is the desktop version and one is the mobile version, and it automatically works. So you can go and compare if it's developed correctly and give your feedback to the developer. Also, you see here if some code snippets are already put into this pattern library. And when there are some code snippets in it, you'll find them also on your style guide. So for instance, we see here is nothing in it, and here we have already some code snippets. Okay. This was the design patterns, and the design to code comparison was also shown again. Then I'll see if you have questions. So this was a short overview of Frontify. You're, of course, invited to put some questions or ask some questions if you have some, and I'll be glad to answer them. Okay, no questions so far. Okay, we have a question asking what these symbols are down here. Um, these symbols show you what exactly was specified on the screen. So if it's empty, you see there are no specifications on it. Here we have some comments and annotations. Here we have some interactions, and here the full palette of the specifications. Okay. Was this question answered to you? Okay, great. Thanks. Then in the meantime, I can show you, you can also create folders into it. And we have users using Frontify just as asset management. So they put their design assets into it and share it with teams or clients. You can go and add here also some description. This is used if, let's say, you have many folders. It makes it easier not only to have the name here, but also a short description what this folder is meant. Okay, so if we don't have any questions, I'll like to thank you for your appreciated time. And I'll send you the link to this webinar afterwards so you can share it with your team if you would like. Thank you very much and have a nice evening. Bye.